What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode, number 1 of Wrestling with Conversation. Now, I did pick out a few interesting topics to start this episode off. Well, actually, to start this podcast off. Now, I will be doing daily, weekly episodes on Wrestling with Conversation. But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. So, further ado, let's just get into what we have to talk about. We got Asuka. There was rumors, actually news of Asuka returning from Fight for Select. There was another rumor of mustafaali returning to WWE as well, possibly returning to Monday Night Raw. So we're gonna talk about that. We got Drew McIntyre. Spoiler alert. He might actually be Roman Reigns' opponent at WrestleMania Backlash due to SmackDown tapings for next week, because they actually going to the United Kingdom next week to do their tour. So there will be no tapings for next week, as well as they planning on doing everything last week as we speaking right now. Speaking of the UK, WWE has confirmed that it will be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Gunther on the United Kingdom UK tour date. Now, there's not a lot to be said about that. People saying it's a dream match. I actually haven't really thought of that as being a dream match, considering how they treating Shinsuke Nakamura right now on Levitas. I also want to talk about Kushida being away from WWE. I'm not sure if they said he was released or what, but he is no longer on terms of contract with the WWE, and we'll talk all about that on Wrestling with Conversation. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to check out this episode 1 of Wrestling with Conversation. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this episode. So let's just get into it with Kushida being our first topic. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to praise him like he's supposed to be a main eventer world champion on the NXT Gold and Black brand. But eventually he had what it takes to take it to the next level. He could have been the North America champion, NXT North America champion, but there was other guys that was in that position that did more, deserved it more than him. But if you look at him, you would think, hey, he can be the next NXT North America champion. That being said, speaking of him being the champion, he did beat Santos Escobar for the Cruiserweight champion. Now, that was kind of confusing for me, because I seen Santos Escobar being the longest reigning defending Cruiserweight champion. But, I wasn't mad at Kushida being the NA champion as well. But what happened was he got into a feud with Roderick Strong as well, and I actually liked that feud as well. But I feel like, the more they kept going with it, he was being hard hitting, having hard hitting matches, and it was good for what it was as his reign with the Cruiserweight champion. Now, I do want to talk about why they didn't go all the way with him being the Cruiserweight champion. Like I said, him and Roderick Strong had a good feud with the Cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar as well. And I just feel like, maybe they was giving up on him because he did drop the belt eventually. Then they started to change his wrestling gear. He started teaming up with the other guy, and I forgot what his name was, but I feel like they just teamed them up because, hey, they both was Japanese, so let's just call them Jackie Town and have them wear jackets and stuff. So I feel like that was just kind of disrespectful and disappointing, because he is a good cruiserweight, and he actually had what it takes to, develop, do more, be a star, and then go in the black brand of NXT. Now, as far as I'm concerned, with him being in the NXT part, in NXT 2.0 era. I just didn't see him going further into that area 2.0. So eventually, hopefully, him and that other guy in the team called Jacket Time, they wasn't getting anywhere anytime soon. But I just want to thank him for the opportunity. Thank him for everything he done for the NXT Gold and Black brand. He will truly be missed. Well, by me, because not a lot of folks are putting a lot of attention to him being gone off the WWE contract. So hopefully he do find work, and hopefully he do get somewhere and be successful. Another cruiserweight that I want to talk about is Ali. Now, this guy right here is outstanding talent, and you cannot say he had his bad match at all with anyone. Now, he did have some ups and downs in the WWE, as everybody should know by now. If it wasn't for his injury, he would have went against Daniel Bryan at the WrestleMania for the WWE champion. He would have won that match in the Elimination Chamber. But stuff happens, so you can't blame that. Well, actually, you can blame that injury, but to be honest, I actually do want to say that injury was his downfall of his career, because if he would have never got injured, he could have did a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He could have accomplished. He was cruiserweight champion for what it was. He had some banger matches with Central Alexander, had some banging matches with Buddy Murphy. He was just all over the place doing the cruiserweight division. Now, when the cruiserweight division was still alive, he took over for sure. Now, I don't think he was actually cruiserweight champion. I think he almost won the cruiserweight champion. I'm not sure, because I don't think he actually won a championship. But like I said, he did deliver some top bangers matches, and he should have been cruiserweight champion. That being said, now they did reevaluate him. Now, before I talk about this retribution gimmick, this retribution group, I do want to say that they did have the opportunity to have him attack Kofi Kingston, to turn him officially heel, have him going mad because Kofi Kingston stole his opportunity. But for some reason, they just never pulled the trigger on it. Now, speaking of retribution, this group was actually a total failure. I mean, Ali, he tried to do everything he could. He had the promo skills. He was delivering every week of the show, talking about, just hyping up retribution. But eventually that just wasn't enough to get people interested in, because WWE lacked the consistency. They lacked the storyline. They just didn't, care enough just to, put more into the retribution character. Now, speaking of his return back to the WWE, now a lot of folks saying it's really not a return, and I actually agree with that, because WWE actually kept him off TV because he asked it for a release on internet. Well, yeah, he asked it for his release on social media. So WWE probably had a problem with it, asking for his release in public instead of going to the office and talk about it, person to person. But it looks like they planning on bringing him back to the Monday Night Raw, as that's what rumors are saying. Now, I was thinking they was gonna probably put him in a feud with Ricochet, since he is the Intercontinental Champion. But I feel like, we seen Ali and Ricochet go at it plenty of times. So I feel like they want to be something new, because if he does beat Ricochet for the Intercontinental Champion, then who would be next for him? Just that SmackDown mid-card division is so thin. So I'd rather just for him to actually do go to the main roster not main roster, actually go to Monday Night Raw. But I feel like if he do go to if he do go to Raw, I actually seeing this being a storyline. Him going after Austin Theory, him actually going after Theory because he is the United States champion, and Vince McMahon is his prestige protege. Vince McMahon is high on Theory, so I actually do seeing that being a storyline. Maybe he's still gonna be heel. Well, I think he would actually have to turn babyface or be a tweener in his own and have Theory still be a heel, because Theory is really not a heel. He's kind of like a cocky babyface, but like he is a heel, if that makes sense. I see Theory versus Ali. But Cody Rhodes already in a feud with Seth Rollins. See, there's not really much for him to be infused with, but I can actually see, I would actually like to see Theory versus Ali for the United States Champion feud. Speaking of another return for WWE, we have Asuka from Fight for Select that she will be returning to either Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Hopefully not SmackDown. Hopefully she goes to Monday Night Raw. But if she goes to Monday Night Raw, then would that leave Bayley going to SmackDown? Because I would actually like to see Asuka and Bayley on Monday Night Raw as well. But speaking of Asuka, what would be next for her? Like, what would be stored in next for her? I can see her going after Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch was the woman that gave Asuka the women's champion when Becky got pregnant. So they can obviously revive that storyline going on to keep Bianca Belair busy as the champion. Now I actually can see Bianca Belair showing up to Raw, beating Sonya Deville to retain her Raw's Women's Champion, and because I don't actually see them two going at it again at WrestleMania Backlash. Well, yeah, they could, they could, run it back at WrestleMania Backlash, but I feel like Becky Lynch is going to come out there. Are going to come out there and challenge Bianca Belair for another Raw's Women's title shot, and then we can hear Asuka coming out there saying Becky Lynch doesn't deserve another Raw's Women's Champion opportunity, and then Becky can be like, what are you to say deserve another Raw's Women's Champion when I gave you my championship because she was pregnant. They can revolve that whole storyline around that, and then they can keep Bianca Belair busy with Sonya Deville at WrestleMania Backlash, making a little short-term feud with Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville have a match at WrestleMania Backlash, and then we can have Becky Lynch and Asuka at WrestleMania Backlash as well. So like I said, that could be a whole interesting feud right there. I don't really see her doing much on SmackDown because we already have Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair going at it for the SmackDown Women's Champion. Please keep Asuka away from Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, because we do not want to see Asuka lose to Charlotte Flair no more times anymore. So that being said, that could be 2 confirmed matches for WrestleMania Backlash right there, and then just take it from there. Whatever WWE want to do with it, just don't have Asuka off TV ever again or have her on a losing streak, because she is really talented and she did not deserve to be on TV, because her, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, they carried that pandemic area when there was no fans in the crowd. They carried both shows on their backs, so they deserve to be on TV more. Now, speaking of SmackDown, we actually have WWE actually confirmed that it would be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Gunther at one of the United Kingdom tour dates. A lot of folks saying this is a dream match. This is a dream match. Now, to me, be honest, I ain't never thought of this dream match. It might look good on paper, but I don't know. It could be a hard-hitting match as well. But the way they defend, the way they, showcasing Shinsuke Nakamura, I don't really, not looking forward to this match. But it might be good for the UK. Speaking of the United Kingdom, they are not going to be, taping SmackDown, which I think that's kind of unfair because, the United Kingdom, they got an electric crowd. The crowd is always loud. They want to be heard. They want to see these wrestling shows because, it's rare that WWE come there to do wrestling shows or even pay-per-views. I think the last time WWE did a pay-per-view in the United Kingdom was way back, a couple of years back. So I feel like they deserve this match because they trying to give them some of their best matches. Hopefully, then they have Drew McIntyre. He's showing up to the United Kingdom, and they got much more. Hopefully, Sheamus show up there. Because it's sold out crowd. A lot of folks want to see this. They hopefully WWE doesn't let them down because it's sold out. They want to see this. It's hardly worth for them to show up. Okay, so basically, like I said, they doing the United Kingdom tour. So they did both last week and this week episode of SmackDown, and Twitter was blowing up because it seems that Drew McIntyre will possibly be Roman Reigns' next opponent at WrestleMania Backlash. Now, what is my concerns about this? What is my opinion on this? Honestly, I gotta ask you guys, is this too soon for Drew McIntyre to go against Roman Reigns, especially with the United Kingdom tour days coming on tour? Especially when they going on, UK tour. Is it too soon? Is it too early? What is going on? Did they run out of opponents for Roman Reigns? Is Drew McIntyre taking both champions from Roman Reigns? It's all kind of bizarre because I didn't think it would be like this soon. Maybe they got tired of Drew McIntyre not doing anything. Maybe this could be a long-term storyline feud with both championships on the line. But you gotta realize that the Usos could always screw Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I do not see Drew McIntyre beating Roman Reigns for the both Universal and WWE Heavyweight Champion. I do not see that. That being said, in this case, I do see Drew McIntyre being screwed out of his match at WrestleMania Backlash. That's just what I think because if you think about it, they trying to keep Drew McIntyre strong as well. But I gotta think about it though, because Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn and a steel cage match was also announced for next week's SmackDown. So is they doing a steel cage match early, or is it the main event? Or what's going on? Is they doing the match early and then he coming after Roman Reigns? Or was this a taping, just for after SmackDown for the crowd to see? I'm not really sure, but people were saying it was SmackDown tapings. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole next week SmackDown tapings as I want to leave it for my post-show review. And I didn't want to spoil myself because I want to actually, watch something and be intrigued by the show because SmackDown last week was really lackluster. It was boring. They didn't have no type of interest for me to keep up with it. Now, do I see Drew McIntyre ever beating Roman Reigns for the Universal and WWE World Heavyweight Champion? I'm going to say no because Drew McIntyre, he had his chance as two-time WWE champion. I know that's kind of aggressive because he haven't won in front of the crowd, but I feel like, he's kind of slowing down away from me for him to be championship again. For I can respect that they put him in the world title picture again, but I just don't see him beating Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal and World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, so this will be a good match, but it's going to be a screw up match with the Usos being involved at WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I'm pretty sure Drew McIntyre will have some showing in this, and it will be an interesting feud going to heading into WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I honestly want to see how this plays out, how they're going to start this rivalry heading into Backlash, and that's what I'll be most interested into, looking forward to SmackDown this week. But that is pretty much all I have to say about this. A lot of folks thought Shinsuke was going to fight Roman, but it wasn't the case. That is your first episode of Wrestling with Conversation. I actually think it was a success. We talk about Asuka returning, we talk about Ali returning, and how he's showing up to Monday Night Raw to possibly face Theory for the United States Champion, with Vince McMahon looking onto that feud. We talk about Drew McIntyre being Roman Reigns' next opponent, how there would be no tapings in the UK for SmackDown. We talk about Shinsuke Nakamura versus Gunther, and Kushida being fired from WWE. And there was so much everything that we talk about on Wrestling with Conversation. This is Wrestling with Conversation episode number 1. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, comment what do you think about this episode, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell for post notification. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, peace.